Hey everybody, big welcome back to another exciting DJI Mavic mini video. And when I say exciting, I'm probably lying. It's probably boring for a lot of you. If you're not a car guy or truck guy or something like that, it may not be the video for you because I'm doing something I wanted to do for a long time, and that's the whole thing about the video, just stuff that I like, which was flying over a vehicle salvage yard. And every time I'm going to Niagara Falls, I see this place running along the side of the highway and I think, oh, it'd be really cool to go and fly over it. So today I was up early and I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm driving out there, and that's exactly what I did. So we're gonna check out some of the cars, and I don't know really much about this place, like a pick and save or something like that, where I think you go and you pick your own parts off the cars. Um, Right now, I'll tell you one thing I hated going when I went to scrap yards was that people left the doors open at the pick and saves. And I don't neither of my vehicles, I've got two vehicles, neither of them need parts. So I haven't actually gone to a scrap yard for my own vehicle in years. But when I used to actually work at one. I'll go into that in a minute. But and you come in and people have left the doors open or trunk or hatch or anything like that, and then you're destroying the interior of the car that somebody else may want. So try to keep that in mind. I guess if you're ever out at one of these places, just close the door when you're done. Like, there's no reason to leave a door open. It's not a big deal, I guess, if the hood is left open, because that's pretty common when you go to the yards that the hood is open. um, but anyway, so I was saying actually that I used to work at a scrapyard. So back in, I believe it was 2000, 99, 2000, I used to work out in Niagara on the Lake at a scrapyard. And overall, it was a good experience. I used to work on tear down row is what we called it. And so basically they would come with a loader and stack up six cars in a row. And my job was to remove set parts. So we had our standard parts that we would remove, which would be the starter, alternator, the radiator, wheels, and then they would write like on the window for anything else. Like, so it was all computerized. So they would write down, like, blower motor or various things that they wanted from the car to save. Basically, this was the final stage before we would crush it. And this yard actually has a crusher. We'll see it in a minute here. Same like the one I would operate. So it was pretty cool actually crushing the cars. But there were so many times that cars would come in that I'd actually feel bad that we were destroying. Like, you'd have like classic, like a, what is it, like a 56 Chev that came in, and it had a lot of Bondo and stuff flaking off it and stuff like that. But to me, I thought it was still a waste to crush the car, and that's exactly what we would do. There was like old Cadillacs, and basically for the yards thing, they couldn't resell once it had been given to them. They can't sell the body, I guess, legally because they've bought it for salvage or for scrap value. So um, I'm gonna guess, I don't want to say 100%, but it wasn't like they weren't licensed to resell vehicles. So everything that came in had to be either parted out or crushed for scrap value. So that, yeah, it was unfortunate on a lot of vehicles because a lot of the cars that were in the scrapyard were actually nicer than the car I was driving at the time. Um, I'm one of those people. I've had like 60 cars probably in my life. I'm 40 now. Um, Very first car though was a Chevette, and bought it for 500 bucks. And I'll never knock Chevettes. They were probably one of the greatest cars ever made because they were cheap, reliable, and easy to work on. But anyway, it had a ball joint problem, and I sat there, me and my buddies, like we were sat there for like days and days trying to get this damn ball joint out, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Anyway, eventually we just gave up and we sold the car to my ex-brother-in-law, who was like mechanically inclined and all that. So that bastard, as soon as we sold him the car, he knew exactly what to do. We were trying to hammer down on the ball joint, or up or whatever it was. And yeah, he just sat there, heated up a bit, and tapped on the side, and the fucking thing fell out. So kind of a dick move, but a good one on us, I guess, right? So there's the right there to the side there. You can see the crusher, and you can actually see some cars there that have been crushed. When I do my flyby, I notice here on the pile that what appears to be an Audi, we're going to see that was crushed. Um, I couldn't get too low because I wanted to make sure I kept good signal. So unfortunately, I don't get any lower than this on this flight. Um, but I was surprised to see the Audi because I would have thought that there would have been more parts value to it than scrap value, crushing it already. And then so here I've seen the racing stripes on the white car. I believe it's a Camaro. At the time though, I couldn't tell, like, when you're watching your phone, and I'm at 75 feet high, so I was like, oh, is that a Tesla and a Camaro? So I was thinking that this was like their high end section, but yeah, like right now, even I'm watching this kind of on a grainy on my video production thing, so I can't make out everything on these cars. You guys are going to get to see a much better quality version on YouTube than I've seen so far. Um, but yeah, working at a scrapyard was actually pretty fun. The my boss's name was Wally. Wally at Caw Hill, shout out. Um, he was nice. I didn't always see eye to eye with his brother Brad, which is actually why I quit. I'll tell you the little story here. Why not? And I have nothing against Brad now. Like, you know what I mean? We just didn't see eye to eye on shit. But basically, when the cars would come to tear down row, we would go through, like, the trunk and the seats and all that, and you would often you get change or tools or various crap that people leave in their car. So when it comes to tools, we had literally thousands of tools piled up, like boxes and boxes of various wrenches and screwdrivers and hammers and whatever from vehicles. So to get the wheels off, you sometimes you'd have these aluminum caps that are on lug nuts, and if the aluminum caps had been stripped, like somebody's used the wrong wrench to try to get the wheel off or something, it would be rounded, and then you could try hammering the socket on, like a smaller socket on. It was a lot of work and a real pain in the ass. So I was using a screwdriver or a chisel, might have been a screwdriver or a chisel, whatever it was, um, to try to beat off the aluminum cap. Basically, you could almost like peeling a banana. You could use that and peel back the aluminum so that you could get a socket on there. So in doing that, one day Brad comes out and he's like, he's mad, whatever. He's having a bad day. He's like, don't use a fucking screwdriver to get those off. And I was like, um, why? It's a lot easier or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we've done it before. And he's like, you don't pay for the fucking tools around here. He's like, well, you guys didn't pay for the tool. It came in the trunk of a car. We have tons of them. And he's like, we buy the cars, we buy the tools. And anyway, ultimately, I told him basically to fuck off or whatever, and just walked off the job that day, because he had often had a bad attitude. But then other days he was the nicest guy. I don't know, maybe he was bipolar. I don't know. Anyway, I have nothing against him, but that's why I left my job there. Um, it just kind of is what it is. I actually had fun out there though. Got to, for the most part, when it was nice out, you're sitting there working outside, got the tunes blaring. Um, it was a dirty job, like that micro dirty jobs. I would definitely say it was a dirty job, because after the cars would go from the row I was on, I would move over to we had like basically a steel frame that would hold the car up on an angle, like 8 feet up in the air, and then we would use there'd be two of us, one with a pickaxe and the other one with a catch can, and we would use the catch can to catch all the oil and gas. So the gas would be used in, like, the lot cars, and the employees would fill their cars or whatever. There's that Audi in the middle of that pile. Um, and then the oil would go for like a oil burner for the furnace for the shop. So it was good. It wasn't wasted or anything like that. And then what else there? I tire installation. So a lot of times I would spend time like taking tires off rims, like, say we didn't have any cars to go to crushed, then we had all these tire piles, and I would run the little tire machine, taking the tires off the rims, and then we, putting the decent tires, in pairs or in sets if there was four of them. And then we didn't save, I don't think, very many of the single tires. But every now and then I'd have to mount tires onto rims for customers that would come in and buy a tire, take their tire off and pop a new one on. But the funny thing is we had no way to balance them. So people would end up having to drive out of there with wobbly ass tires because ultimately they're not balanced. But I saw some old cars in the corner there. You see that white one and the green one. Um, my video, sorry, is too grainy. I can't even say what they are right now. Um, But I actually, several years ago, not several years ago, it's a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago, one of my old buddies, he had to go and get some parts. So there's a scrapyard in Hamilton that maybe one day I'll fly over. Anyway, they charge you like $2 to go and walk around. So you can just pay $2 and just go walk around for the fun of it, looking at the cars. So whether you buy anything or not, you got to pay to get in. Um, but actually, I didn't mind because it's fun just to go and walk around and check out the cars. And um, lately I've been kind of getting the itch to pick up like a project car, and you guys can comment below if I was to pick up a project car and throw it in the garage. And when I say a project car, something cheap like a little MGB convertible is. I've been kind of looking at them. They, something like that, or TR6. There's like these little tiny convertibles, something that's easy to work on. Parts are readily available. I used to do a lot of wrenching around and stuff like that back in the day. And having new vehicles now, I don't. I'm kind of spoiled. I don't really get to do much. I did an oil change on my truck the other day. So, and I do my own brakes and stuff. But um, anyway, if I was to pick something up, do you guys think you'd have fun? Watching, kind of doing some body work. I used to do body work for Diamond Aircraft out in London. It was on airplanes though, and it was fiberglass, but basically it's still just Bondo though for the filler, um, filling little divots in the material. But anyway, yeah. So do you guys think you'd be interested in that? And then I'm trying to figure out like exactly what I would do on the car. I could do, the body, the engine. I could probably pull the engine out and rebuild an engine myself. Um, but so just an idea. I don't know. We'll see. Or I thought about picking up if I find a cool little two-door car that would be worth making a summer ride, cutting the top off, and like something that's not supposed to be a convertible, but making it a convertible. Um, I don't know. We'll see. Never know what the future's going to hold, I guess. And so here I come flying back. The funny thing was where I parked over here, I just parked at a little factory there. I was thinking that this would be a nice quiet spot to park. This is at like, I don't know, 7:30 in the morning or something like that. And like the amount of freaking cars that came in to go into this, like whatever the hell it is beside me there to the right of the screen. I was thinking, oh man, like I thought it was going to be a nice quiet spot. Everyone slows down and looks because I'm sitting right there in my truck. But anyway, guys, if you're still here, I do appreciate you watching the video this long, and I would imagine it means you somewhat enjoyed it. So if you wouldn't mind clicking the like button, it helps me grow my channel. Leave a comment, share, or anything you can do. I would appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next adventure.